Welcome in, everybody. It is Wednesday night, and Daniel, it has been a while. We're in season 10 now. It has been since season three. We have headed to the JUCO route, but the coach we're going to have on tonight, he has coached some of the best players that we've had on. Some of these guys, Daniel, have made it up to the MILB, possibly could be making it to the show soon. It really just speaks to the program, what they're doing down there, Northwest Florida State. With that being said, Coach Doug Martin, how are you doing tonight?
Yeah, Jim, I'm doing great. I appreciate you and Daniel having me on tonight. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, coach. Before we get into your story, before we break down all things baseball, we like to break the ice, kind of get to know you a little bit. And so we're going to start, and this may be a little more fun for me and Daniel. We're usually talking to 18 to 22-year-olds, and we both turned 40 this year. And so getting to speak to somebody more on our level. So when we talk music, coach, if you could go see any musician anywhere, go see a concert, who's the musician? Where are you going to see him? Talk to us.
Oh, I don't know. I'm one of those that kind of will listen to anything. Um, Maybe not some of the rap stuff there with some of the language, but I'm a '70s guy. All right, and so my ultimate concert, and this is, this guy's not very exciting, but man, I love some Glenn Campbell. I love some Rhinestone Cowboy. So if I could see that guy in his prime, I think that would be the go-to for me.
Daniel, all we want is new answers. We want to hear anything that's not Morgan Wallen, right? So
Yeah,
Rhinestone Cowboy is a great change of pace. I'm perfectly good, even though that's before our time. I'm rolling with
yeah. I don't. This will be the first and probably only time that we get that answer, and I'm okay with it.
it. So let's talk movies, Coach. What's your favorite baseball movie, man? And it'll be interesting because last night we had just a young kid on here, and he comes out with Major League, right? He doesn't say, the kids movie, doesn't say the new movie. We've had every answer there is in the book. So, obviously so many good classics to choose from, old and new. What's the go-to baseball movie for you?
Well, there are a lot of them, and you did mention Major League. That's a good one. I enjoy that one. It's a fun one. Um, but I'm a father. I've got a son that plays ball, so Field of Dreams is going to be right there at the top. And then I was a former pitcher when I played, so for the love of the game, both of those are Costner movies, and he loves baseball, and you'll probably see him in a couple of weeks. They'll pan to him in Omaha. He's usually there for that, and but I would say Field of Dreams, and I would say for the love of the game, probably are my top two for sure.
Yeah, both exceptional movies. I'm actually wearing my Field of Dreams baseballism shirt right now. For Love of the Game, great movie, especially, it's the one that my wife loves for the obvious reasons. You got the romance to it, and Kevin Costner, you talk about it as it should be like in the Baseball Hall of Fame. He's got, add in Bull Durham, he's got three amazing, baseball movies. He's somebody that's just seen as a baseball actor, even though he has a million other movies. Field of Dreams obviously being the most well known, and then they did that game, obviously, and he stepped out there and did the first pitch. So just it's really cool, and me and Daniel could definitely get down with those answers. Sticking with sports, and it'd be the last question, then we'll get into your story. I don't know who your favorite athlete is. I don't know who your favorite team is, but if you could go see any athlete, any team, anywhere, who would you go see? Who's the bucket list player or team? Where are you going to see them?
Yeah, gosh, that list is long too, uh, and there's been so many great ones. But I was really fortunate with my age birthday coming up soon tomorrow actually. But I was able to uh, go through the Michael Jordan years and been able to go get home at night and tune in to WGN, Chicago network there, and to be able to watch him multiple times a week, and just see, in my opinion, the greatest competitive athlete that I've ever been around or seeing as a sports fan, and it just tickles me today. These new young kids, and a lot of them, they gravitate towards these guys like LeBron James and stuff like that, and they have no idea. They have
Daniel,
no
how
idea
many
what a
times is, to Coach's point, how many times has LeBron James been the answer on here?
A lot. We get a few MJs and some Kobe's, but I mean the fair share is LeBron. And that's a fine answer. Obviously recency biased, you're gonna gravitate to what you kind of grew up with, and we grew up with Jordan. And so like that'll always and forever be my number one greatest of all time basketball player. I just don't think anybody can fill those shoes, because I witnessed it as a kid growing up, and it meant so much, um, for building a passion, building a love, not just for basketball, but just athleticism and all sports in general. But coach, we got to get to your story, man. Obviously the long tradition that you have in baseball. We're going to unpack all that, but before we get to all that, we got to kind of build the bridge and connect how you got into it. So we're going to go back and tell me a little bit about where you're from. Where's home for you?
Yeah, I grew up in Pensacola, Florida, and so I'm what you call a panhandle guy. Um, panhandle of Florida guy, and I grew up and played some high school ball in a pretty good program in Pensacola called Tate High School. Years that I went through there were some really good players, guys who make the major leagues and things such like that, and had a chance to see some state championship runs there and participate in some of those. And so that was kind of the start of the playing career in high school. And then I went to junior college right there in town at Pensacola Junior College, and then finished my career in Montgomery, Alabama, at an NAIA school. They're a Division II school now, but that's Auburn at Montgomery, not to be confused with Auburn University, but actually the school was a branch of the University of Alabama when it started. And so that's kind of my playing days of baseball. And then,
So
you graduate, and
how
you
did you
want
get
something.
into it
Yeah,
though? Like, was there,
well, it's just like,
family? Was it mom,
yeah,
dad, brother,
no,
sister? Like,
it's the back of a long bed Datsun pickup truck that my dad would go pick up me and all my friends, and we would go to the field, and he would coach the little league team, and it just kind of go went from there. But it's just growing up in little league baseball, and moving forward from that point, and always have been a sports fan, and of all the sports, I love them all. But probably for my athleticism and skill set, baseball was the one that I kind of gravitated to, and so it allowed me to play a little bit past high school into college, and you just kind of fell in love with the daily routine of the game, and I wasn't good enough to do it for a living in terms of playing, but I went and got my degree, and got a master's degree to go along with it. And I said, I want to keep playing baseball. So for guys like me that were not athletic enough or good enough from a skill set standpoint, if you do your schoolwork and you have some academic credentials, then you kind of can apply for jobs out there that you can continue to swing a fungo bat and throw a pitch and batting practice. And so I play baseball for a living. I just do it in the form of a coach, and it's been a very rewarding career. I've enjoyed the heck out of it.
so, I mean, there's a lot to unpack there. I mean, obviously the journey that you spent, and like you said, like, um, in order to maintain that love and that passion for baseball, you know, when you are done playing, then, you know, the coaching role is kind of a good fit. Um, you know, when you were younger and you were playing, did you ever foresee yourself wanting to coach? Because I know we've talked to some guys on here, and they start getting towards the end of college life, and you know, if professional baseball is an option or if it's not, we always ask, you know, is coaching something you would ever want to do? And a lot of them are like, they're not real sure. But you know, a lot of them that do say they want to coach, or you know, do coach, you know, in the summer, they say, well, yes, I want to coach. I'm 100% committed to that. Like they know automatically. So for you, um, was coaching something that you knew you wanted to do once your career was over, or was that something that just kind of artificially kind of developed as you got closer to the end?
Well, I knew what I didn't want to do. And I knew that I didn't want to sit behind the desk all day long. I knew I didn't want to have to wear a suit and tie every single day. I knew I didn't want to do something that I may you could make money in, but wasn't necessarily excited to get up and do it every day. And so I just decided that, well, what do I enjoy the most? And it's enjoyed being around sports. And so that's something that I kind of grew up with, and I was always interested in it, whether if it was baseball, basketball, football, or whatever it might be. I just enjoyed being around that daily. So obviously, coaching would have kind of fit that for a career path to be able to continue to do that. So, that was what I always thought would be good for me, and it certainly has seems to be working out pretty well that way, I would say. And it's just it's not a job. It's just something you get up and you look forward to doing every day, and getting to work with young guys. And you mentioned some of those guys that you've had on your program that played for us. And it's a joy to be able to coach a Dylan DeLucia or Reagan Burford or a Brock Tapper. And it keeps me young. I'm starting to be an older guy now, and got some gray hairs going around here on this beard. But when you get a new group of guys every fall, it kind of like starting over. So it kind of re-energizes you, and it gives you the opportunity to get out there and see what you can do with the next group. And yeah, so it's fun. It's a great career path. If that's kind of what fits what your mindset is, who you think you are. And for me, that's certainly what it was.
Yeah, I mean, you hit it. Like my coaching stint, like I didn't appreciate this until as I got into it. I mean, obviously I wanted to coach because I loved the game, but I really underestimated, you know, how much just staying youthful and being around guys that are younger and being able to connect with those guys, and how much fun that really was. Cause I think at the end of my coaching career, I think just being around young people and being able to see guys who are passionate about what I'm passionate about, I think that was the best part, regardless of wins and losses. Winning was great, don't get me wrong, but outside of that, yeah, just being able to stay youthful and hang out with kids, and watch them grow and get better and accomplish things, watching them, you know, struggle and fail, but then overcome and succeed. Like those are like the highlights for coaches. You know, as you were a player and as you were a coach, who would you say is your biggest inspiration to, you know, get into baseball and kind of continue your journey through the sport?
Yeah, I would say that even though my family is not a necessarily when I was growing up a baseball family, maybe my dad was a an educator. He was a principal at some different schools and all that, but and he wasn't really a baseball guy in his grown up days, but he's the one that got me started. Again, he would he would go around, and back in those days, we'd go to the field down the road, and he would pick up all my friends after school, and we'd all sit in the back of that long bed truck and drive to the ball field, and he would have the sack of bats and balls and gloves he'd throw out there, and we'd just get out there and do it. So, it started with my dad. I mean, taking us and showing us and, teaching us the fundamentals and all of that. And, so yeah, I would say that definitely he's the one I point to as my first inspiration to try to get into the game. And, you know, still to this day, carried on to being able to take some of his ideas and, be able to work with our guys that we work with today.
So, as a player at Pensacola and then again at Auburn, tell me a little bit about your playing time. Obviously, you said you were a pitcher. Um, tell me a little bit about the team. What were some of your best moments or most memorable moments from your playing career?
Right. Well, that's been a long, long time ago. But I wasn't any sort of an all-star player or a team leader in terms of being the best guy, whatnot. I made contributions throughout my team that I best could with my skill set. But it's just to me one of the things you always enjoyed growing up being on those teams was just being a teammate. Being a guy that could be around the other players and support each other and try to play for each other. And when I wasn't playing, I tried to do the best to be a guy that would be supportive of others. And my career is nothing that you would look up and wow you for anything like that. But it's just it was a career that was very enjoyable because I was part of a team, and that's one reason I'm still part of a team. I've been doing it since as long as you can remember. You always been on part of a team, and I think that's something that's I don't know what I would do if I wasn't part of it. So um, yeah, I would just say my career is best highlighted by being on teams and being a great teammate and contribute in any way that I possibly could.
So let's get into the coaching side of it. You know, obviously, what was take me through the journey up to where you're at currently. You finished playing, do you immediately go into coaching? If so, like what position and where were you at? And then take me through just kind of the progression of how you are where you're at today.
Right. Well, yeah, I did. Right after I graduated from college, I did jump into some high school coaching, and I did it for a year, and I got out of it. I won't name the school that I was at. Fine school, but not necessarily for baseball. And it just says, man, I don't know if this is, this isn't for me. These kids don't care a flip about it, and they're not, really bought into working hard. I don't know. So I did it for a year, and then I got out of it. I actually got into umpiring and did that for a year. And then I said, oh no, I got to give this thing one more shot. And in terms of the coaching part of it, so I got another opportunity at a high school there in Pensacola, and had a good experience there. And it was a group and a program that had some passion for trying to do well, so that was fun, and we had some success there. And then I got aboard in college down at the junior college in Pensacola Junior College, and started my college career there and was there for 9 years. And we had some success. We made the World Series appearance, the only one in program's history there, and had some really good teams and good players, and grinded it out there for 9 years in junior college. And I got the opportunity to be the head coach over here. I think it was 2008, and that was at that time called Okaloosa Walton College, or many people refer to as OW. And as soon as I got the job, that was real exciting because I was, eager to get on those phones and start making phone calls and recruiting. And when I did, and I introduced myself and I say, I'm the head coach at OW, people recognized Okaloosa Walton or OW. And, it was a brand name. It was a really brand name in the junior college world. And I was in the job for about a month, probably 6 weeks. And then all of a sudden they says, we're going to change the name of our school. We're going to offer some 4-year degrees here. We're going to try to expand our student base throughout the whole region of Northwest Florida. So we're going to be known from this point forward as Northwest Florida State College. So I'm like, you got to be kidding me. I said, a directional school, those things are a dime a dozen. And so I had to try to help rebrand the school when it came to recruiting and making phone calls and everything like that. And people will ask, what Northwest is that over in Jacksonville, maybe thinking it's North Florida, or is that West Florida? Isn't that a school in Pensacola, 4-year school? I said, no. So this is Northwest Florida. So it took some time to try to develop the brand a little bit and get the name out there. There's still local people that call it OW, but I think we've done a decent job over our 16 years of being here of kind of making this name identifiable with baseball and athletics, and to a point where we are now. And when we call, people kind of recognize that. But that was kind of my coaching journey to the point that where we're at right now talking. So this was my 16th year I just completed here. And I've been a junior college coach for now 26 years, I think, in this league. And it's a challenge daily to try to keep us up and to be a competitive team. It's often referred to as the SEC of junior college baseball. All our teams are really competitive and really good, and we have to work really, really hard to sustain our ability to be a good team.
Well, when you're talking about rebranding and getting people to understand who you are now as opposed to all the things that you used to be, the biggest way to do that, and I think you've done it, is you just go out and you build a program and you win games. And people automatically just start knowing who you are. And we'll get into the success that you've had over the past, 16 seasons at Northwest Florida State. Um, but I will ask, I mean, I was a JUCO kid, directional school in Tennessee. So, it was Shelby State, State Tech, and then all of a sudden it changed the name to Southwest Tennessee. So I feel you when it comes to dime a dozen, directional schools. But anyhow, the coaches were, professors and teachers at the JUCO level. Is that is that part of your role as a baseball coach, is to be a professor to teach any classes there, or is it strictly just baseball?
Yes, it's strictly just baseball, and I do teach a couple of classes as well. So it's still a dual position in terms of they ask the coaches to teach a class or so, but it's full-time baseball all day, every day. And in order for us to be able to be successful, like we're talking tonight, I've been on the road all day long. I had to go up to Alabama for a tryout. There were a lot of kids there that we were able to get to see today. But it's full time. It's all day. It's every day, and you better be up on your recruiting, and you better be working the phones. And so it's a full time deal. So we just also happen to in the morning, teach a class or so, which is good because you also, I enjoy it because you get to learn and know some of the other kind of population of the student body. So I don't dread it. I look forward to it, and it gives you, a little fresh sense of what the rest of the college is kind of like sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. So, now 16 seasons at Northwest Florida State, career record of 472 and 256. Just this past weekend at the NJCAA championship, obviously just coming up short, but something we've really been focusing on with our guy Brock Tapper playing for you. Outstanding job that you did with that team. But let's talk just in an overall grand scheme. 16 years, that's a long time, and that record is a great record. And obviously a lot of division championships. You got a national championship in there. You just made another run. We're going to get into details, but just overall broad sense, just how amazing has your journey been in those 16 years?
It's been very enjoyable, and we have had some success. We've had some years not as good. It's having success and being a champion is something you got to work towards every day. It's not necessarily a continuum. Just because you did it last year doesn't carry over. We got back from Grand Junction on Sunday, and Monday we're meeting with the guys, and then Tuesday we're out, recruiting and looking at our board for next year. And so it's been a lot of positives here and a lot of good years. And but if you're not pushing it daily, then that doesn't give you the right to be good next year. And that's the neat thing about junior college. I mean, it's year to year, and we certainly had a championship level team this year. We won our league. We won our state, which both of those accomplishments are incredibly difficult to do, and got out to Grand Junction, and we lost the first game. So you're like, oh, well, this might be a quick trip, but then our team decided, no, it's not time to leave, and won 4 in a row and made it all the way to the championship game, and faced a really good team from Texas and Blinn, and they just were better that night. But it was a championship season, but that gives us no right or anything to make us a championship team next year. We have to get back to work, and we have to build that team up, and make sure that we identify good players that can come in here and win for us. And so it's a year to year thing, and so we want to keep it going. And but boy, you have to get after it daily to be able to do that. So in the 16 years, yes, we have had some success, but it's just like anything else. If it's not a lot of hard work and wake up with the idea that I'm going to try to improve the program just a little bit better today, then it won't stay that way. It's not a given. You have to earn that daily.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's not just, the junior college, me and Daniel with this show, whether it was Mississippi State in 2021, Ole Miss in 2022, LSU in 2023, all taking a major step down the next season, losing a lot of talent, having, coaches having to retool. And it's, you didn't have the guys that you did before. And it is a hard job. And it's not even just the talent, right? It's the chemistry of the team, the veteran leadership, the things that come with it. But speaking of veteran leadership, a guy like Reagan Burford that you coach, you see him being the captain at Ole Miss, a guy like Dylan DeLucia, most outstanding player of the College World Series. Dylan Ross, unfortunately, had got hurt at Georgia, but ends up getting drafted by the Mets. All guys that you coach at the JUCO level, you see him go to the Division I level, absolutely put in the work, and then get drafted and doing big things. So for you to have guys like that coming through your program, how proud does it make you, not only just seeing them moving up to Division I, but things like becoming captains or most outstanding players? Like, it's got to be a great feeling.
Yeah, it's one of the most satisfying parts of the job, because normally when they come to you, nobody really dreams of growing up and going to junior college. All right, let's face it, we know our role, we know our part in this thing, and so some guys have to come for different reasons, and so to be able to have a small part of their development while they're here, and to see them move on to the highest level of baseball, certainly amateur baseball, and have the success like the guys that you're talking about, is very rewarding. Very, very rewarding for us to be able to see that. And we certainly love to promote those guys to the next group of players that come through here. And we shared the stories of Dylan DeLucia, and how he, I could share a lot of stories about him while he was here, trying to get him right in many different ways, and then to be able to see him succeed and at the highest level there at Ole Miss, and
Hey, he didn't
be a big part of
sugarcoat it, Coach. He's a 4-time guest of the show. He didn't say he made it easy for you, and he did not say he had the best work ethic. He's never lied to
Yeah, I'm not going to sit here and throw him under the bus at all. He's not here to defend himself, so I'm going to take the high road. Let's just say when it was game day, there's nobody else that you would rather have on the mound than that guy. But getting him to the park sometimes, you had to keep your thumb on him. Hey, I got a photo of him the other day on social media about a month ago, I guess it was now, but he had his cap and gown on and had graduated, went back and finished up school. So I was so proud of him, and I called him, and I just said, "Man, this is so awesome, and congratulations!" And this is, I'm as proud of you for this as I was for you watching you be a big part of winning that championship. And in typical DeLucia way, though, I said next thing, I said, "Well, what?" Yeah, so what'd you get your degree in? And he says, "Coach, I'm not real sure." so that's just a little example of the things that we had to mature him a little bit. But what a great kid, and what a loyal kid to your program. I mean, he loved being a Raider while he was here, and he loved being a Rebel. And when you get guys that are bought into your programs like Dylan, and Reagan Burford is another one. Man, what a guy that buys in, is just all in. It makes our job as coaches so much easier when you have those kind of guys, and they just are. And Brock Tapper's the same way for us this year. They love where they were. They love where where their feet were at the time, was being Raiders here. And when you get guys that are totally bought into doing everything they can to help win and win now, and it makes your job as a coach just so much more fun.
Yeah, and on the Brock thing, we don't know the plan that's set in front of us, but I can tell you, Coach, that in real time, very devastated with everything with Mississippi State. His dad called me, Sydney, just not very happy. And then, a few weeks later, he gives me a call after he's down there. He's already, put in the work, and just said that, he's happy, he's playing free, the stress is off. And then, as the weeks go by, he talks about the relationship he has with the guys on the team, the relationship with you as a coach. And then you see him starting to thrive. And it's what you talked about with JUCO. Maybe some guys don't see themselves there, but it's an opportunity. We've had so many guys because, we mentioned the 3DU, but, me and Daniel have probably had 30, 40 guys on here that have went through that route and had massive success. And sometimes it's an opportunity for a guy like Brock, who, he obviously dreamed of playing at Mississippi State, but things didn't work out. And he got to go there, somewhere he never envisioned himself, but he got to thrive. And now wouldn't change it for the world, Coach. He would not change playing for you. His dad wouldn't change it. And, it's awesome. And it speaks volumes to your program. It speaks volumes to junior college, right? And what you can gain from him. And now, whatever is the next step on his journey. But he was able to take a year and grow bigger than he ever could have seen. And so, like I said, shout out to you and what you got going with those guys there. And it just shows as they continue to go to the next level. But let's talk about this season and falling short. You talked about playing a good team, but, I always like to ask, this team, when you first get them together, is this a team that you saw going this far? Like, shooting me straight?
No, I don't ever. It doesn't matter what year it is. I'm one of those guys that kind of undersells to start with. Anybody that kind of knows the way I kind of speak, and then you certainly hope that they over deliver. And I would say this one definitely did that. But no, you can't. You just think in terms of trying to grind away every day and get a little bit better and see what you can make of it. At junior college, it's you got a whole new group almost every semester. Like, for Brock, we got him in January, at the start of this spring semester. So he was one. We had a kid transfer in from Ole Miss as well, Jackson Evers. And we had another couple of kids, one kid from Texas, and had another kid from Georgia. And so you're like adding parts to the team right 2 or 3 weeks before the season starts. And so you really don't know what you have. You know, we came together January 10th to start our practice, and 13 days later we got a bus rolling out to Arlington, Texas to play in Globe Life Field, and I'm still trying to learn how to spell the names of these guys. So it develops over time. And but that's one of the things that's very unique to junior college. These guys are together all the time here, and they live together. They go to school together. They eat together. There's baseball together. So even though guys like Brock were, just new in January, it didn't take long for them to fit in and to be, feel like they're part of a team and part of a group. And that's just a unique bond. Maybe you get in junior college, and maybe not so much sometimes at 4-year schools. These kids are also much closer in age. We only have freshmen and sophomores here. And so it's not a situation like, a lot of 4-year programs, the freshmen have to live in dorms, and then the juniors and seniors, well, they kind of go where they want, live where they want. So, you probably have a group here together and you got a group there together. And, that's just not the case here. These guys all are with each other all the time. So you just get the opportunity to form a bond, a team that you may not get at maybe some other levels. And, the other thing that goes along with it, we have to do everything. When practice is over, we got to fix the mounds. When before the season starts, we're edging the field, and it's us. It's us as coaches. It's us as players. And so when you're invested in that much into what you're doing, even though we may not have all the fanfare and hoopla, it's still very important to these guys because of so much investment that they have. And so that's just one of the beautiful things about junior college. And in some years, the teams do a better job of that than others. And you wanted to talk about this year's team. And that's what this team thrived on. Now, did it start that way? No. All right. Because, you get them in January, and, you start playing live games. And so now you got to make the lineup out. Well, now these games count. So not everybody plays. And so that's an adjustment. Everybody has to have roles on the team, and, you get your roles identified by your abilities and what you do at practice daily, and then how you perform. And, so that's an adjustment. Guys are all here. They were good players in high school. They were used to playing. They were the best pitcher. They were the starting shortstop. They were the 3 or 4 hole hitter. Well, that may not be the case. So there's some learning curve to say there. And you don't form that just overnight. It takes time. And this team was no different. We didn't start off, the greatest. We were about 500 or whatever it was for a while. And, we had a lot of disgruntledness, a lot of why am I not playing, and, this, that, and the other. And you just keep grinding away at that every day. And you keep talking about how we're going to be at our best. And that's by being a team and pulling for one another, no matter what your role is. And, and then sometimes you had to make adjustments. Sometimes you had to, for the betterment of the team, you had to lose one, to get everybody to buy in. So that happened as well. And, but it stayed, we stayed the course. We kept working at it. And then eventually you develop the kind of chemistry that you want. And to the point where at the end of the year, I think we were like 9-2 in postseason play, which is really, really good. Before that, we were able to win our league, and our league is very tough. And so when you get that going and you get guys to take ownership and develop that team chemistry, it makes it easy as a coach at the end of the year. I enjoyed the ride. It was fun for me to go out there and watch our team perform. And first Tampa at the state tournament, and then going out to Grand Junction, man, you just kind of sit back and watch them go, because they take ownership for the team and hold each other accountable. And that's what you want every year. And so this particular team this year was fantastic at that.
So Daniel, listening to everything Coach Martin's saying, thinking about all the guests that we've had that have went the junior college route, and the way he's talking about the responsibility that you have, is it any surprise to you that almost every single one of those guys we've had has just been a tremendous guy when we talk about not just character but work ethic?
Yeah, I mean, we talk about it all the time. The junior college grind is something that is uncanny to any other grind, and it is something that you don't understand how difficult it is or what it's like unless you go there. You can try to like explain it and put it in perspective, but um you just got to be there to know. And coach, my hat's off to you because you're coaching it, every day, living it every day, and you're being a coach, but you also got to put your player shoes on and understand where the difficulties lie and kind of think a few steps ahead of these guys to kind of make the transition as seamless as possible, because at the end of this, like you said, the turnaround and getting these guys from getting to know each other and building a cohesive team to putting 9 players on the field is just a short amount of time, and it to make things go the way that they did this year and be really special, you got to have one, you got to know what you're doing, you got to have the right guys, and two, you got to hope that that genuine artificial connection just starts building because these guys truly love playing, for each other and for you.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
so
it's yeah. Go
no, go
ahead.
ahead,
Sorry.
coach.
Yeah, just saying it. That's the challenging part about it, because you get these guys from all over the place. If you look at our roster, you'll see that we get players from everywhere, and you just kind of try to throw them on the wall and see what sticks. And they all have their own agendas and reasonings for coming. And I can tell you, the first reason they come is not to go try to win a championship. You have to mold that. You have to mold that into their thinking to understand that if we can be successful together, all your individual goals that you came here and your personal agenda, all that will be enhanced. Because I can tell you, our better teams, all of our good teams, those are the teams I get a lot more phone calls about than the ones that are not that way. And so, together, everybody can get their individual goals met as well, and that's what you try to sell. And this year's team they bought in. I mean, it's just they absolutely did, and because of that, you're getting the rewards now from an individual standpoint in terms of scholarships and opportunities at the 4-year level. And there's going to be a few that here in the next month, when the draft rolls around, they'll get that opportunity as well. And that's what makes it very satisfying as a coach, because our role is to help them. And there's 3 things that we try to develop here. When I talk to kids about the recruiting and what we stand for, it's kind of our mission statement, if you will. But we're trying to improve them, in the classroom. Some of them have to come to junior college for a reason. So from an academic standpoint, trying to make them as good as they can be. So when they leave here, they got a chance to go wherever they are able to go from an academic standpoint. No school is off the board because I didn't have good enough grades. So that's one. Number 2, we're trying to develop them also, obviously, as ball players, and give them the chance to go through our program and enhance their skills, and try to compete at the highest level against other great teams that we play against and put up good numbers so they're recruitable. And then the third thing that we're trying to do is just improve them as human beings. We've got a great community here in Niceville, Florida, and we try to get these guys involved in it, the different things that we do throughout the community, and get those things and try to educate them that, hey, when you're doing things for other people, that's a positive for them, but also is a positive for you, because there's some self-gratification that comes along with trying to help others. And, so we try to instill that into them as well. And, we feel like that's the way to go about business here, and it's worked out pretty well for us so far.
Yeah, the way I think about it, coach, we had Taylor Broadway, who he didn't go to junior college, but he went to Division III Tyler College. And he said, at the time it was referenced as a stepping stone, and he said, I see it as a building block. And I think that is the correct terminology. You can even call it, depending on how things go, it's a launch pad, right? It's not a stepping stone. It has a chance, as you said, to mold them into the young men that they want to be, not just on the field but off the field. And so it's an opportunity for them to grow in so many ways, and that's why we're seeing, the positive results we are. And speaking of positive results, I'd be remiss if, before we moved on, I didn't ask about your 2015 team where you did win the national championship. Just, I know it's 9 years ago now, but just how great a feeling was that as a coach, when you do get to the final game, coming home with the win?
Yeah, it was a good ride home, man. I'm telling you. That's the ultimate, is to finish it off like that. And there's a lot of similarities. I'm not much into comparing teams or players. Probably let somebody else do that. But that particular squad and the squad we had this year, there was some similarities in terms of just the attitude and the care for one another and the love for being Raiders. And I mean, yeah, if you win that last one, and it's the ultimate. But I was just every bit as proud of this particular team as I was that one, because of where we started and where we had to come from. And even out there, when you go out and lose your first game, and you stare that bracket down, and you look and see there's no light at the end of the tunnel. And the kids had a little motto out there, just brick by brick. And they believed in it. We just kept winning and winning and eliminating other teams. And lo and behold, if you didn't wind up getting all the way to the end. So they loved playing with each other, and their goal was to play as long as they possibly could together. And that's exactly what they did. There was not another junior college game after that one on Saturday night. So we played as long as we possibly could play, and that was enjoyable to watch them do that.
Yeah, I mean it's that culminating piece to a lot of hard work that you put in on day one, and you harp on, you emphasize, and you just want your guys to give out the best effort, and hopefully things work out to where you can be the winner and play in the very last game of the season, and you guys are able to do that in 2015. But thinking about where we're at now, where what are we doing? Are we recruiting right now? Obviously, you mentioned that you just got back in. You went to Alabama. You were checking up on some players. Um, how long is the recruiting process? When do you start thinking about being done with the recruiting and moving into planning for the upcoming season?
Yeah. Recruiting never stops. I mean, it's just a continuum daily, and you just try to chip away at it. So, we're still looking for players for this coming up fall. We still have plenty of opportunities there with scholarships available and things like that. And, recruiting is coming a little bit later because of all the transition and shifting that's going on now. I think I read somewhere today there's close to 4,000 kids in the transfer portal, and that certainly hits us as well. And so there's a lot of shifting going on at all levels of amateur baseball, college baseball, and so we're involved in that. But also, we still have a couple of our players that were on this particular team that are still looking around and finding out, what's going to be best for them for the next year. And, so we're trying to help them too. And so it's still a very busy time of year for us. And, the things that we need to be doing to get ready. I mean, again, we can rest on our laurels and sit back and, feel good about what we did this year, which is awesome. But if you do that too long, then you're going to be behind the eight ball for next year. So you just keep going. And that's kind of where we're at right now. We'll be in Atlanta this weekend for some for some travel baseball tournaments for, high school kids so we can see some of those guys. And, it's a couple months. It'll be go time again for the fall. And so, we're full steam ahead right now.
What does the fall look like? Are you guys, I mean, I just being in Tampa, I know it's so unpredictable in what's considered the fall, but August to October, like you're where you can get outside and you can do things like it's very erratic as far as having a set schedule. I know it's got to be frustrating with weather trying to plan and get things accomplished. Do you guys have indoor facilities that you can do things, or is it strictly like, you got to bang it once you get some bad weather?
Yeah, good news about our school is they really value athletics. So we have a indoor facility that's probably rivals any Division I indoor facility you've ever been into. We've got ability to have 5 individual cages full length, or we could pull nets back where we could almost do a full infield. So we never miss. I mean, we're always doing something, and in the fall we'll get going sort of at the end of August, and then September and October we're playing, we're practicing. I mean, it's what these kids come to college for, is to go to school and play baseball. So we're going to play baseball, and you got to love it. You got to love doing it all the time, and it's not for everybody. It's not supposed to be for everybody, but it's for those that want to see how good they can be and understand that it takes commitment from a daily basis to do so. But we have all the resources that you need. I mean, we've got an outstanding facility, indoor facility, training facility with all the bells and whistles that you need to improve your strength and flexibility, and training room and all that. So we're fortunate to have a administration that values athletics. And for anybody that's kind of listening to this and they said, man, I'd like to see that, we just go on our website. All those things are up and posted, and different pictures and videos. And so those things are important. If you don't have them, it's hard to develop. If you don't have an indoor, even though we're in sunny Florida, the Sunshine State, right? It still rains a lot, and so if you don't have that, then you're not going to get your work in that you need to do. So we have it, and we play. We play about a 20-game schedule against outside competition. You're going to have another 10 to 12, inter squad games, and so you're going to get a lot of at bats. Pitchers won't necessarily throw 6-7 innings at a time, but they'll have a lot of 2 and 3 inning stints, so they get many opportunities to get out there to pitch, but not over pitching with pitch counts and all that, especially in the fall. And so it's really great for that freshman that's coming in for the first time to college. You almost kind of get your freshman season out of the way in the fall. And so maybe by the springtime, you've had some experience against some college, pitchers, or, the hitters getting to see those guys, or pitchers getting to see the hitters, and, all that. So in the spring, you've had a little bit of that under your belt. So you're ready to go, maybe gain a little confidence. And we also, as of the last few years, the universities have allowed them to play some scrimmages in the fall. Used to be that way a long time ago, but just recently we have been able to play some 4-year universities. So we got several that are very drivable for us. University of South Alabama, we've gone that direction pretty much every fall. Southeast Louisiana, we've gone over there. Troy University also hosts us. So we get to play the universities too, and that's exciting for our team. And it gives us a chance to let those guys compete against 4-year players. And I'm not going to say that any scores or anything like that when we play them, but I will say that we hold our own. We'll just say that. So it's great experience. The fall baseball for junior college is really beneficial to those guys to get those opportunities. So it's an important time of the year for us.
Yeah. So last question before we jump into a game and have a little fun. So, I mean, you spent, you know, 700. I mean, you've got 16 seasons. You know, you got 700 games that you've played or coached in at Northwest, and I guess the biggest question is how long do you think you're gonna run? Like, you gonna coach? You gonna just coach as long as you enjoy it? Is there a time frame? Is I mean, obviously you mentioned having kids. Like, you know, what do you think the trajectory is here?
Right. Well, all I know is I got up this morning and I went to work, and I'm going to get up in the morning and I'm going to work in the morning. So I said this earlier, but ever since I can remember, I've been part of a team, and I'm not sure what that would look like if you're not part of a team. And my role is as a coach, but I'm just a big a team member. Part of a team is our shortstop, or our pitchers or whatever. So I don't know. I can't remember back to the time that I was not really part of a team. So that's always important, and that's always on my mind. And it's just again, like I said, that when you have a new group each fall, and it re-energizes you to see what you can make of each individual team. So it's still the day that that's not enjoyable will be the day that I need to turn the keys over to somebody else. So when that day is, I don't know, but I still enjoy the heck out of what I'm doing, and have really enjoyed this past season, especially.
Yeah, you know, getting up every day is a blessing. Getting up and going to work every day and have a job is a blessing. But getting up to go to work and coach baseball as your job, that's an awesome blessing. So, um, you know, I don't blame you. I'd want to do it as long as I could do it too. As long as it was fun, as long as I enjoyed it, I'd wake up every morning with that passion and that want to get better. So with that, let's jump into a game real quick before we let you roll. Obviously, every guest that we play has to play this or that. It's very simple. It's You get two options. You choose one option or the other. The only rules are you can't say both and you can't say neither. You got to pick one. So very hypothetical situation here. Nothing
Oh
crazy
boy.
though. So
Yeah. That's
Jim,
almost maybe a no-win situation. I don't like those scenarios, so there's not an option C, is what you're saying.
there's not an option C, but
All
I
right.
mean the ones that are no win, at least they're fun hypotheticals.
All right,
So
let's go.
all
Shoot.
right, Jim, who's this or that brought to you by?
Chinook Cedary, 8 flavors, mild to wild. Brock Tapper is a ambassador for them. You can help sponsor him through NIL. BTAP, very simple. BTAPP. Get your 8 flavors. I recommend smoking toast, baby. Cinnamon toast with smokehouse barbecue. You cannot get better.
Nope. A little mix and match, a little combo action. If you like original, they got you covered. The foundation seed that they have. If you want a little barbecue, you want a little sweet in
This
your life.
growth dill pickle right here.
If you're a pickle fan, they got dill pickle. They got
Daniel, you say
something for
something about me
everybody.
always having this available, and the reality is I have it available because I'm never going to chew it. That's the reality here. It's not for me. Ty Floyd, national championship pitcher, he loves it. Not me. Not me.
Not my thing either. But what I will say, last thing, Chinook seeds. A lot of seed companies will overcharge you for jumbo and then have their regular. Not Chinook. Chinook's going to give you the jumbo seeds for the minimal price. They're going to have minimal ingredients, but the flavor's big, the seeds are big, and they're the best in the game. That's all I can say, man. It really is. All right, coach, this or that. First question is a layup. Would you rather grill out or would you rather go out to eat?
Man, I love going out to eat. We do it all the time. So
Oh yeah.
let's go out. You don't have to clean up the mess.
What's your, let's take baseball out of the equation, because I know where my mind goes when we say, "Oh, we're taking the team, or we're going to dinner with the team," and the types of places that you go. If it was just you and you could pick any restaurant, where would you go? What's your go-to?
I'm a steak and potatoes guy, man.
There you
So any
go.
good steakhouse, I'm all in for those kind of things. That's good stuff. Steak and potatoes all night.
Absolutely. Would you rather have a fast car or a luxury car?
In my older age, the luxury stuff is very appealing. So let's go luxury car. Can I say, hey, speaking of luxury cars, I got to share this, man, because this is an all timer. When Ole Miss won the World Series, we have a very influential Ole Miss alumni that lives in Niceville. I will tell you, his name is on Ole Miss's football stadium. All right, and it's not Hemingway, Vaught Hemingway. There's something else there, so I'm not going to say his name, but y'all can probably figure that out. He lives here, so Dylan's coming back through, and I wanted this uh, person to meet him because he loves Ole Miss. He's Ole Miss. He breathes Ole Miss, and so we take him over to his house to meet him, and the guy says, "Hey, look, let's go have some breakfast together and talk about this thing." And so we're like, "Yeah, yes, sir, we'll go. Let's go to Waffle House." All right, so we go to Waffle House, and that's okay, that's no big deal. All right, you talking about luxury cars? All right, we got Dylan DeLucia in the passenger side. You got me and one of my assistant coaches sitting in the back, and it's not just any car. This is a Phantom Rolls Royce that we're rolling up to Waffle House in. You should have seen the expression on the people that were sitting in the window when we roll up in a Rolls Royce Phantom. So when it comes to luxury cars, yeah, well, I'll take that one. That's a pretty good one.
Especially with Doc Hollingsworth.
Okay,
Man,
so
pretty.
I wasn't going to say his name, but
I live in North
you
Mississippi. You can't hide from me.
okay. You figured that one out. Yep, he's a great rebel, and
Once you said it wasn't the stadium,
yep.
I knew who the field was named after, which was the next guess.
He drove it up a couple of weeks ago to show our team, this year's team, and of course they all wanted to ride it and everything like that. So it's that was awesome. Go ahead.
The irony is when I was in Atlanta with Dylan DeLucia, he was asking to drive my premium GT and trying to cut up, and so he wanted fast, and no way I was giving Dylan the keys to my car, and no different than I almost wasn't going to say the story, but I am now. Daniel, you remember it like it was yesterday. He told me, "Go to sleep, man. I'll be fine going out by myself." I said, "Not a chance on in off the benches watch, dude. I'm not
No.
letting you go out of my sight, bro."
Oh man.
All right, coach. Would you rather trip and fall in public or pass gas in public?
Oh gee whiz. I don't know. I neither one, but you said I had to pick one. So
Gotta pick one.
all right. Well, I kind of do the second one quite often. I just try to keep it silence and then point to somebody else.
See,
So
Daniel, that's a RH thing. See, he
That's
feels me. I'll pass gas in public if I need to.
that's the
yeah,
beauty of having smaller kids is like I just blame it on them.
that's right. You always
It's
look at somebody else. Yep,
that's
that's exactly right.
that's the dad perk, man. You get to blame stuff like that on your kids.
And when you trip and fall as you get older, it just, I mean, don't feel the same. You don't pop right back up.
No, not at all. Other things you end up hurting yourself more by trying to brace your fall instead of just wearing it. But coach, would you rather listen to sports radio or sports podcasts?
Uh, well, I'm still that what we're doing a podcast right now. Isn't that what this is called?
That is what this
So,
is.
so I'm learning. I don't want to listen to mine. I can tell you that. I'm a sports radio guy, man. I kind of grow up, with the radio, and I'm an older guy, so this podcast and all this stuff that's new out there, and Zoom calls and all that, I'm figuring it out. But yeah, good sports radio station's pretty cool.
Oh yeah, definitely. I don't mind sports radio. I prefer podcasts just because I can find what I want to listen to and listen to just that when it comes to podcasts. I don't have to listen to the whole show and get the 10 minutes of the 4-hour show. That's what I want to listen to. But there are some really good sports radio shows out there, and Jim is a proponent of sports radio as well. Next question is a fun question. This is one where there's not you're not going to win in this situation, but it's the best of the worst alternatives. Would you rather wrestle a tiger or a bear?
Well, you're definitely losing on both of those.
I I agree.
But one of my coaching heroes, well, actually, probably my number one coaching hero, is Bear Bryant. All right, and so he got his name by wrestling a bear. I actually met Bear Bryant when I was 10 years old. Went to his office up in Tuscaloosa. Back in those days, you could kind of walk in there and meet, coaches, and so we go back. My dad takes me back there. We get the secretary. She calls, and coach is back there in his office, and I got my Alabama jersey on, and he asked me if I'm going to be the next great Alabama running back. Of course, I said yes, sir. And so Bear Bryant is one of my coaching heroes, and so he got his name from wrestling a bear. So if I'm going to go out, which is, you're right, you're losing both of those battles, but give me the bear.
Great answer. I love it. Now here's the final question. This is a big one. All right. Um, if I came to you and I said, Coach, here's a briefcase full of $100 bills to the sum of $1 million cash, you can have this, or you can win another national championship. Which one would you take?
Yeah, that's an easy one for me. There's nothing that compares to the ultimate victory of winning a national title. I've got a job, so I'm going to make some money. And if money was the number one thing in my life growing up, I never would have went into this coaching gig to begin with. And so, we're talking right now tonight. All right, I've got a roof over my head. There's lights are on, the AC's on, and I had a good meal tonight. So I'm not a millionaire. There's things that I can't afford. All right. But there's no substitute for the satisfaction of grinding it out from day one and going through all the ups and downs and the adversity that you have to go through to be part of a team that kind of gels and molds itself together into a championship group. I mean, there's nothing like it. And so I would pick that every single time over your $100 bills. Because it's something you'll never, money's going to come and go. The lasting relationships. Look, I can tell you this. I got bombarded with calls and texts from our 15 group as we were going through this journey the past week and a half. And it was just so awesome that they're all following us and they're rooting like hell for us. And, that's what you want. You want those relationships. And when you're successful like that with a group, and you'll have that forever. Money's not going to be forever, and so I wouldn't trade those opportunities for anything. Give me that another national title run.
There you go. Respect it. I can respect that for sure. Coach, it's been a pleasure and a blast. Anything you want to plug or promote? Anything you want to say before we get you out of here?
Yeah, look, I'm not sure your population up there and your audience is a real good area for baseball. You got some really outstanding youth, high school travel baseball areas up there. So there may be some of those that watch this. Who knows? We're located in the Panhandle of Florida. Look, we're right next door to Destin. As we're speaking tonight, there's people that are spending thousands of dollars to be here for a week. All right, we go out and recruit players to give them money to come here and go to school and to play baseball. So anybody that's out there that has any interest at all in anything we've talked about in terms of the junior college level of baseball and says, hey, I might want to take a look at that. All right. Well, look us up. Northwest Florida State College, man. We look for great players. We look for guys that are committed to be the best they can be. We've got a great area to recruit and go to school and have families come down here and watch us play and all that. And so, yeah, that's my sales pitch. If we
Daniel,
could
that
ever
was the
help
greatest.
anybody,
Yeah, that was the greatest plug or promote we've ever had, Daniel.
Yeah,
I
I
want to
mean,
go play. I want to go play for him.
it's not a hard sell, man. When you get out here and watch, look at this sand and watch this on this beach and look at this water. So there's a lot of worse places that you could be besides right down here playing baseball on the Gulf Coast. So anybody that's interested, man, look us up. We'd love to talk to you.
that's right. High school player, transfer guys. If you need a place to play, feel like you got what it takes, and you want to be minutes from the beach, you want an indoor facility that rivals, other D1 programs, Northwest Florida State College is where it's at. Coach, it's been a pleasure. I appreciate everything that you do. Best of luck this upcoming season. Obviously, it's going to be a busy fall, and probably you blink your eyes and it's going to be here before you know it. But if there's anything we can do for you along the way, please reach out to us.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate you guys having me on, man. It's been great. It's been fun. Hey, before I leave, I do want to ask you something. What, you got a championship belt there right behind you. So I need to at least ask about that. What's the story behind that? Was it WWE now? It used to be WWF back in the old days, but what's that championship belt right there behind you all about?
Yeah, so as a kid, I love wrestling and I still love wrestling. I can suspend my disbelief enough to be a kid, and I don't know. It's just like a guilty pleasure that I have, and these are just two. I'm a wrestler every Halloween, so the belts started as like a prop piece for the costume, and now they're in the podcast room. But the top one, the red one, is one that they don't have anymore on TV, but it's a championship belt that they had for a while. And then this one right here that's the $1 million belt. Ted
Yeah,
DiBiase, the $1 million man.
that's
That
the
was that
million
was
dollar man. Yeah,
so that
yeah,
was something like that one was one as a kid. I always was fascinated with that belt. And I was
It's
like,
worth
man,
telling them, Daniel, also that you were a principal and got to work with Titus O'Neil hand in hand.
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
Thaddeus and I were really good friends still to this day, really good friends. A guy that I look up to and respect, a guy that if I need some advice, I'll definitely pick up the phone and give him a call. But he was a wrestler, he was a Florida Gator football
Yeah,
player.
played football at Florida.
Yep.
Top three wrestlers all time. Your favorite top three? Let me quiz you.
Okay, so obviously Hulk Hogan is the guy that really started me on the path. I mean, I was born in 84, so like that was the prime time for Hulk Hogan. Macho Man. I love Macho Man because he just has the best promos. Like they're off the wall, they're ridiculous, and I just love them. What a character. And I would say just as a wrestler in a more modern day, there's a guy named CM Punk that he's great on the microphone. He's great wrestler. He's good at everything. He draws a crowd. Not a great UFC fighter, but a great wrestler nonetheless. He's in the top three. You can sprinkle in, Stone Cold. You can sprinkle in The Rock in there as well. Um, I liked Ultimate Warrior and
And keep in mind, Coach, we're from Memphis, where we grew up getting to watch wrestling Saturday mornings in
Yeah.
Yeah.
Memphis.
Oh yeah. I grew up the same Southeastern Championship Wrestling right down here, man. Austin Idol, Bullet Bob Armstrong, you name it. Some of them old school guys. Did you see the movie The Iron Claw? If you're a wrestling guy, you had to watch it, right?
I have so I it's in my queue. I have not
All right.
watched it yet, only because I have a 6-year-old and trying to find a couple hours in the day to watch a movie is almost impossible. And that's one that, I want to sit down and start it and finish it. I don't want to watch it in segments. But yeah, the Von Erich story is amazing. That's one that
It's
I
actually a
definitely
very
want to take a look
sad
at.
story. You know, they lost so many of their
Yeah.
brothers throughout the deal, but yeah, Kerry Von Erich was he was one of my favorites. So yeah, I'm a wrestling fan. I get it, man.
Well, see,
Fun stuff.
oh yeah,
We
I
have to
appreciate that.
get me back. Hey, get me back on. We'll do a wrestling show one night. How about that? And that's
I
wrestling with an R. You know, wrestling.
absolutely. I would love that.
Yeah.
Jim knows how much I would love
Well,
that.
I'll tell you this, Coach. Since you brought up the hardware behind him, I'm going to floor you real quick. Daniel, I will give you $100,000 for that national championship ring behind you. You good with it?
Yeah, you can have it for 100K.
Hey, he will sell is for $1 million. He'll sell it for 100,000.
I
I can't. My eyesight's not good. I don't see a national
Pull
championship
that
ring.
ring out. University of Tampa.
Oh, University. Yes, you played at Tampa.
I coached there.
Oh, you coached there. What? When was
Yeah,
that? How many years
that
ago?
was 2013. What's funny is they're actually in Cary right now. They are looking
Yeah.
really good. They are undefeated in the semifinals. They win one more, they'll be in the championship series. So they're really three wins away from another national championship.
And I'll tell you, Coach, when you were doing the selling pitch about Florida, the first time I came to visit him while he was coaching, and I got to see the backdrop, I couldn't believe it was real. It felt
Yeah.
fake.
Yeah.
I mean,
Joe Orso is a heck of a coach, and I think he, is a finalist for that USF job. Now I don't know if he'll get it, but in my opinion, if he wants it, he deserves that opportunity. So I don't know
yeah,
if he even wants it or not. I have no idea, but that would be a great hire for South Florida.
yeah. When I started at UT, the rumor was this was over 10 years ago. He was a finalist for the Tennessee job and a finalist for the Notre Dame job. I think what ended up happening is he wanted to coach his son. And so
Yeah.
now his son has graduated and just finished up playing for him. I think that was what was really important for him because he didn't want to really miss anything. And at living in Tampa with his kids here, it was a lot easier for him to get out and see those things. He knew that if he made that transition to that level, he was going to miss a lot.
Yeah.
And if you know anything about Joe is an all-in kind of guy, and he's either gonna take it because he knows he can be all in, or he's gonna say this ain't the right time because I truly just can't be all in. But the guy, you're right, he's definitely earned it. When you talk about the pedigree and the lineage that he put together here it's unbelievable. So
Yeah. No doubt. Well, like I said, I don't know if he even has interest, but they should sure give him a look if he does, and that would be a great hire for you. Got there. We sent a couple of kids down there. A guy named Jim Kavorius. I think he wound up being like a fifth rounder from there, and then Angel Cruz was another one.
yeah.
Those are kids we coached at Pensacola. They were 4 or 5 years before you said you were 2013. They were no, they were even a lot earlier than that. Heck, my years were running together.
That's
But
the
we
hard
sent them
part, man.
guys. Yeah,
I started there in 2011 and was done in 2015, and people ask me to this day were you there when so and so was there, and I'm just like
yeah,
probably if it's just, you know how it is.
Those
They
guys
run
would have been
together.
there. Now that I'm thinking about it, heck, they would have been there in like 2000, 2001.
We
Like I
were still
said,
in high school.
yeah, years run together, man. Years run together doing this stuff. But hey, guys, I appreciate it, man. It's been fun. Call us anytime. Love to talk, and appreciate y'all letting me promote our school a little bit.
Absolutely. That is Coach Doug Martin, everybody. If you like hearing Coach's story or you just like hearing us average Joes talk X's and O's, please like and share the podcast on Facebook, retweet us on X, listen and subscribe wherever you stream your podcast. Going over to YouTube, hit subscribe, check out our reels, hit the notification so that you're updated anytime we upload content, and that's on a daily basis. As always, thumbs up, ratings, feedback, comments, hugs, love. We'll take it all because that's what we live for. We don't live for the negativity, right? We live for the positivity, Jim. I got to say that. But with that, Jim, we got some special things in the works. Anything you want to say or talk about before the next episode?
Yeah, just look forward to some surprises. Obviously I put out there that we're going to be at Rocco's Live in Omaha. You're finally going to make it to Omaha. It'll be year 4 in a row for me. Leaving the kid at home this time. Going to hang with my friend of 28 years. But we got some surprises between Chinook Seeds and some award winners and some guests. And just stay tuned. Omaha is going to be a ride, not just for the baseball side of it, but for the in off the bench side.
Absolutely. And to get us prepared for Summer Olympics and gymnastics, we got Sierra Ballard. She's going to come on and talk to us. But man, a lot of good things coming up in the next couple of weeks. Looking forward to it. As always, this has been the In Off the Bench podcast. As always, remember, strong body, sharp minds, grit and grind all the time. We are out.